YouTube. My name is Stacy. I'm known here as Flighty Rambler, and I'd like to welcome you to my channel today. Today I'm going to work with something I've never worked with before, but I've had them in my stash for forever. It's these embossing powders. I got them at a garage sale about 4 years ago, and 25 cents each embossing powder. Added it to my stash, never touched it because I don't have embossing ink pad. But I'm going to experiment today because today I'm going to continue working in DEPHEMEREMBER or DEPHEMEREMBER. It's a daily ephemera inspiration list created by Barbara at 49 Dragonflies and luiseheinzl. Both of those ladies found here on YouTube. I'll have their links in the description below, as well as a link to the prompt list so you can join us. I'm going to be working with prompt number 15, which is a sparkle and book page. I have books aplenty to harvest pages out of. So you're going to see me go through an assortment of books that I have in my stash and pull out some pages that I can stamp and experiment on. I love the different colors of all those book pages, from really weathered and brittle to the crisp whiteness of those dictionary pages. Once I have all my book pages, it's time to choose some colors of the stamps that I have. I have some distress inks and some stays-on inks, and in my recent thrift store haul video, I came upon some pigment ink dye pads that I'll be using as well. So now it's time to begin my experiment to see if embossing powder will work without an embossing ink pad, and rather with a regular ink pad. I'm going to use the black diamond embossing powder for everything. Because I've never worked with embossing powders before, I didn't quite know how long to hold the ink pad on for. I wasn't even sure if there was embossing powder, to be honest. So you'll see I dip my finger in curiously, and of course I'm going to remove some of that embossing powder. My little experiment was a success. I have proven that I can use any ink pad and use these embossing powders. My next step is to use the white pigment ink pad and use this powder. I think it's an embossing powder. I'm pretty sure it is. But just to experiment, I'm doing it. I'm tapping off the excess and then heat setting it with my heat tool, and yes, it's embossing powder. So I have this set of 3, and it's from Martha Stewart. So I'm going to go ahead and stamp an assortment of images, use the different colors, and create a few interesting pieces because I've never embossed before, and it's like magic. Embossing is so much fun. I've never embossed before. I don't know why, probably because I didn't have the embossing ink pad. So now that I'm using any I wonder how much I'm going to be embossing. Oh my goodness. As for tips and tricks, I'm new to this. All I know is that I'm getting great results by using different colored ink pads and different color embossing powders to create a different result when you combine the two. It's so much fun. My goal is to create some large pieces that I can use as potential layers to building up on a background or as the focal point itself. So I'm going to be working with some larger stamps and just have some fun. I have this box of stamps that I picked up at a garage sale a few years ago, and I've used them in a couple of projects, but I thought I'd try to get some embossed stamps. I'm going to try making some stamps with the blue and then the green embossing powders. On this particular piece, the purple didn't take much of the embossing powder at all. They're basically just stamped images. There's not a lot of embossing on them. To give more character and more availability to all of this ephemera, I'm going to fussy cut around some, and some I'll just cut out as a big square to have potential for either layering or fussy cutting later. And now that all the fussy cutting is done, I'm going to show off what I've created. And I can't believe how much fun I had embossing. I love that I'm able to use the ink pads that I have in any color that I have, as long as it's juicy enough to let the embossing powder stick. So I've had such great fun, and I'm really grateful to Barbara at 49 Dragonflies and luiseheinzl, both here on YouTube, hosting the DEPHEMEREMBER prompt list. So that looks like it's it for this video. I'd like to thank you for watching. I'd like to encourage you to give this video a thumbs up, and please subscribe to my channel, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.